You're very welcome back. This Friday, legendary rocker Status Quo released their 33rd album. That's right, 33rd. It's called Backbone, and for Dubliner Richie Malone, he is living out his childhood dream after being plucked from obscurity to replace the late, great Rick Parfitt in the band.
Richie was drafted in to replace his idol on Status Quo's farewell tour in 2016. Here's a look at him with the rest of a Status Quo bandmates from that tour.
I mean,
still laughing.
Do you know what, Richie? It's a phrase that I use. Someone says, "How are you doing?" So I'm living the dream. You are living the dream.
Actually are.
I think I've heard that before a few times.
You must be, though, are you?
Yeah, as I was saying before the break, it has become work, which is great. Because if it hadn't become work at some point, you'd be walking around looking at everything, going, "Look at this tour bus." But no, it is. It's a lot of people don't get this type of opportunity. So
because you genuinely you were a fan. Forever and a day.
Yeah, tell us about the first concert when you were a kid and you went with your dad.
Well, he tried to take me in around '96. I think I was 10, and I was afraid it would be, you know, too loud and too many people, which is everything you wish for in a concert nowadays.
Of course, yeah.
No. But he took me when I was 13 up to Belfast, and I didn't know anything really about music.
But your dad was a huge fan of them,
obviously. He still is, yeah.
That's incredible.
And it was just something special and unique. You know, I hadn't experienced a concert before. So when the bass player Rhino came out and he kind of looked down, I was like, he's genuinely looking at me. So I didn't think bands did that. I thought it was just, you're just one of a million people.
See a face.
So to see that interaction between the band and yourself, and then throwing up plectrums and just the lights, the whole show itself. So right, that's it, I'm sent.
So did your dad have you playing guitar from a young age?
No. Santa Claus brought me that when I was about 16.
16? Wow.
Yeah. My mum got me that, so it was just something I said it's the next step. And it's like what's happened with me and the young Quo fans. You get a plectrum. I need a guitar to go with this plectrum. So eventually got the guitar. And
when you got the guitar, did you say to yourself, the first thing I'm going to do is...
Yeah.
It's just do. Just it still is the same.
Really? So you were self-taught, were you?
Yeah, I got a few lessons, but I suppose with 3 chords, there's not really far you can go, you know.
No,
and then
that's true.
That's a little dig, you know.
When you were a teenager and you were working in RT, you met them as well. Did you?
we were going in. It was a complete fluke. We were doing some wiring and stuff, and Francis and Rick were doing the Late Late Show. So I'm walking in with drums and cable, and it's just there they are. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I dropped the cable and I get a picture with my disposable camera. That was,
of course. Yeah.
Click, wind.
But and they said come back later for the show and stuff. But there's a picture knocking around. That was the first time I'd met both Francis and Rick.
There you are.
Together.
There it is.
Oh wow!
My
look.
God, you're
and there's the guitar
in the corridor of the Late Late. Look.
Yeah.
And tell us, so to go from that then to the clip that we saw earlier on. How did the process happen? How did you become aware of it, first of all? Obviously, Rick passed away.
Yeah, before, I suppose, it was from 99 up and for 10 years of travelling around to see the band with my dad. We'd meet Rick at the stage door and you'd be on the front barrier and I'd be over the barrier, you know, doing the guitar mimicking thing like the way he would play guitar, and Rick would look down and he'd spot that, you know, he's obviously trying to bless him, he's trying to...
Yeah.
And it just went from one thing to another where he'd just say, come back for a sound check next time I see you, because I'd always be at the stage door, and he knew I was a fan of his.
So you start to know your name and everything.
Yeah,
you were super fans.
It took a while, but once we got in for sound check, it went to the next step. It went from that was in Killarney. Yeah.
There you are when I'm looking.
That was the first time I think he said, "Are you coming up?" And we did a little bit of a sound check, and then 2 years later, my dad, I think he filmed it, but it was just it went from stage to stage, from turning from a fan into almost like a mate, you know, that type of way. And you wouldn't be asking for pictures or autographs because I felt a bit odd doing that after a while. But it took a while, and then he just knew. It got to a point where he was saying it to Francis. I didn't know. He was like, you know, if anything ever happens, we'll get Richie in, and I'll sit at home, watch the sport, and then we'll stick another guy in, put a ponytail on the back of his head. You can see, and that was the type of humour that Rick and Francis had. But I never knew that was what they were talking about all along, that if anything ever goes wrong, well, we've always got Richie. I was just going to the shows as normal, so...
And what was Rick like?
He was very funny. He was quite unique, but he was, you know, as most know, he's the original rock star. He did,
as
Francis says,
he lived the life.
Most people will burn the candle here and here, but Rick also burned the candle from the middle too. So you know, but
he enjoyed his time.
He enjoyed his life, you know, and he was such a super guy to meet and to grow up and idolise. And I could never believe me being an Irish guy, you know, travelling over. Yeah, he was just that. You can see it in the video, that connection that we had. We're just chatting away. No, I'm probably super nervous there, but he never got that impression off me. He always felt comfortable that I wasn't trying to be like a fan. I'm showing him a chord there.
So you grew your hair out then to...
Yeah, it was all part of the package, I suppose.
And for your dad, though, your dad shooting that, like, your dad must have been thinking, this is crazy.
That's why it's so shaky. He's trying to see what's going on at the same time.
Did he have a heart attack?
I suppose anything, it's the papers love a headline, you know. And I said it in it, but I think it was a long time coming because, you know, he had his foot on the gas in 2016 with the excitement of me joining the band. Yeah. So, you know, obviously things couldn't have been any better. Like, his son is joining Status Quo. And
his band,
you know, and it was going from strength to strength, and we were doing, you know, the Dublin show came in, the Belfast show. So I think that weekend we played, the foot was just on the gas a bit too much, and it just, on Monday he had a pretty bad heart attack. Now he's still with us. And
how is he?
He's good, yeah. He's good. He's doing well, so he just needs to look after himself.
Richie, what was it like when that moment arose that you got the call to say, right, you're up?
Well, I nearly crashed the car.
I'd say you did.
I was, again,
did you have any inkling at all?
None whatsoever, because I hadn't seen Quo in about... The last time I'd seen them, they'd played as the original band in Dublin in 2014.
And how long had Rick passed at this point?
Rick was still around, so when I got the call, Rick was just... He had the really bad heart attack, so he was still... So that was the fantastic thing. I was in the band while I had joined the... You know, and he was still around, and he was able to see the progression of the band. But when the call came in, it was just to say, you know, Rick is sick, from the bass player. I said, yeah. And he was still playing guitar, and I kind of lied a bit because not many people know I packed it in literally a week before. I'd given up on music.
Wow.
I tried to think with my own band, and it wasn't happening, you know. So I said, yeah, of course, I'm still playing. And he said, right, well, get rehearsing. And it was 2 weeks, 3 hours a day, non-stop, going over the set, back to front, because I was told it was an audition. But it wasn't an audition. They were taking me out to Belgium to do the first show. But
whoa! What was that show like?
It was nuts.
Do you remember it, or is it a blur?
It's a bit of a blur. But I think it was 10,000, and it was the equivalent of playing on O'Connell Street, where the Ambassador is.
Yes, right down the street. Yeah.
Wow. And it was amazing. But it was to walk around that day and see the Quo fans, as I used to do. You know, just kind of hovering around, looking at the stage truck, waiting to see will I see a member. But nobody knows who I am. It's just been announced on the internet. Yeah. But just to be there and see it happen, and then behind the curtain, 9 o'clock, the lights go down, and there's no turning back. So.
And at a certain point in that night, did you at some point sort of stand there and look around and go, I'm on stage, I'm playing?
I think I was numb.
Yeah, I'd say you were,
I was, but I'm lucky because of the 10 years following the band and meeting the band, that took away that kind of...
Yeah, you weren't a sheep in the headlights. You knew them all. Yeah, you knew the setup.
Yeah.
You knew the roadies as well.
I know them really well. The crew, and that's the stars behind the show, really. The crew, the guys that make it all happen. And luckily, I know all of them. It's a family, so everyone was kind of behind it, because if you go out and you don't do it, you know, you're up the creek.
I have to tell this story that I was told during the week by Tony, one of our beloved crew here, who lives from the same neck of the woods. And Richie had moved into that area and went to the local for a pint one night. And the barman said to him, oh, you're new in the area? Yes, I am, yeah. And he said, what do you do? I'm a guitarist. Are you in a band? And Richie, of course, says, yeah, I'm in a band. What band are you in? It's the Status Quo. And the barman said, oh, like even a tribute act? He said, no, I'm in Status Quo. That is bizarre.
I told you, if I had €1, and the worst is when you're in a taxi.
Oh, I can imagine.
Where are you off to? And I might say, we're just going down to the Orchard, you know, we're used to playing Stillorgan, and, oh, you're going to see a band, and and eventually the conversation comes around. Do you play yourself? And Jess is sitting beside me, my partner, and she's just doing that. Go on, tell us. No. So I've had to learn to just... You're better off going straight in and saying, and then expect, but are they still alive? So, well, unfortunately, the reason I'm there is because one of them isn't. You know, and so, but no, I know.
And I tell you what, they are very much alive. 33rd album.
The backbone.
So is this the first album you played on?
This is the first studio album.
Right.
We've done a few live albums and stuff,
Yeah.
you know, but that's the first studio album. It's the first new studio album for this lineup as well, with Leon on drums and stuff, new material. So it's been incredible to see it come out and see the release and all the people
and
talking.
be part of it.
Be part of it and have a couple of tracks on it. And
Listen, we can talk to you all day. Really quickly, where are you gigging next?
Hyde Park on Sunday.
Of course you
very
are,
nice.
yeah. He couldn't bring a guitar today because they're in Hyde Park. As you
Brilliant
do.
story.
Richie, what a story.
Next, though, is poached eggs with Gary. That's the most important thing.
Poached eggs with Gary.
Poached eggs
Very
with Gary,
good.
yeah.
Good to see you.